Does your teen ever get overwhelmed by all the things they have to do? Do they sometimes have a never-ending to-do list that just sort of gets them down or stresses them out? I'm Katie Price, grade transformation expert, and I'm going to share with you my system for getting everything that needs to be done on time and without stress or feeling guilty when you're not sat there slaving away. Now, it's no secret to anyone who knows me or has been a part of this great transformation community for some time now that I'm a person who likes to keep busy. I'm a doer and I'm a planner and I love a project. And I've always got a long to-do list, and I can often be guilty of adding way too much to that list, as I can be a bit overambitious with predicting how much I can do in a day or in a week, and then actually going on and moaning to my husband that I'm way too busy and I've got way too much to do, and he of course reminds me that I was the one that gave myself all those jobs to do in the first place, and I sheepishly agree. Anyway, the point of this is there are a lot of positives to being this way and having a long to-do list, because we get lots done, we can be more efficient with our time, and it also, however, can lead, though, on the negatives, to feeling overloaded and overwhelmed. So I've gradually developed a system that prevents these negatives from kicking in, helps me stay calm and on top of life most of the time, and I'm going to share it with you because I think it's pretty simple and could easily be enacted by your teen too if they feel it might work for them. So first up, I don't make a to-do list anymore. I'll say that again. I never write out a full to-do list. I used to, and it was simply overwhelming. Plus, of course, I'd never get to the end of it because, as you probably know, we cross things off over a few days and naturally we just start adding more and more things, adding them to the list. And I'm sure you know the feeling. So I never felt like I could just relax or watch some TV or chill out without feeling guilty or a bit twitchy that I should be doing something more productive on that list. So here's what I do now instead. There are kind of three parts to it. The first one is I break down every task into specific actions. And then number two is I write each of those actions into a specific day in my diary. So I have specific things and specific actions on specific days, just like anyone does in their normal diary. It includes dentist appointments, coffee dates, etc. But I also have my specific tasks from my to-do list. Now, once I've completed a task, I highlight it. And yes, I even highlight the fun stuff like the coffee dates because we all love to cross stuff off a list, right? But this system means that I also have a visible record of what's been done when, because it's not just a piece of paper or post-it note that then gets thrown away. And I can also easily see any outstanding tasks that I maybe didn't get done and still get that satisfaction of highlighting or crossing off the item. And of course, quick note, pretty highlighter colors do help boost that enjoyment factor. So, no general list, no big projects that are going to take more than an hour or two to complete on any one day. So, if it's something small or standalone like a phone call I need to make, then rather than just writing it on a piece of paper or as part of a random list, I note it down on the specific day I plan to do it on and the time and of course any other details. Then, like I said, once it's done, it gets highlighted. But here's a better example, because what about a task that does require more than a short one-off action or more than an hour or two of work? Well, I'll give an example of when I have my coaching sessions that I do with my gold and platinum students. Of course, I put the actual session with the timing in my diary with a buffer either side, but there are also other tasks that are associated with me running a coaching session, and they get broken down and written in on specific days too. So I'll put in my diary 3 days before to email the student and confirm the session date and time. And if we haven't already arranged what we're going to cover, I'll ask them what they want us to work on in that session. I also note in my prep time. So that goes in my diary for the day before the session. I don't like to put this in too far in advance because as much as I like to be organized, I want to be everything to be fresh in my mind and as up to date as possible. And then finally, I put a note in the day after our session to write it up, send through the summary document that I produce for each session, along with any resources or other help I've said I'd pass on. So this keeps it clear exactly how much work is involved in a task. It doesn't leave me struggling to fit in all those other elements beyond just that coaching session itself. And the beauty of this system is that it not only helps me stay on top of absolutely everything, even the small things that are associated with the task that would otherwise probably slip through the net or not be included in our list or just get rushed. And it doesn't therefore add to my overwhelm when they're not planned or written down and I figure out that the thing is going to take longer than I thought. It also encourages the act of breaking down any project into manageable pieces. It helps us track our progress, stay motivated and positive because we can then see all the tasks we've accomplished, and also keeps those to-do lists much smaller and manageable because they are just a list for each day. So instead of seeing 20 things to do, I might have maybe 4 or 5. And I've had to train myself to only look at one day on a particular day. It's like having blinkers on. It's a really important part of this system. I have to just tell myself to just get those things done and trust that if I do each day, then everything will get taken care of. So finally, those smaller daily lists mean that I can also actually relax at the end of the day, guilt-free. If I've gotten everything done on that day, I can rest easy knowing that life is under control and I can take some time to chill out and do whatever else I want without worrying about those other things that are still left to do because they are also programmed in for another day. But of course, this is just what works for me and has worked for many other students that I've shared this with and have enacted it. So go and feel free to tweak it, have your team adjust and of course suit it to their needs. There might well be something that works even better, and of course everyone's different. So leave me a comment, let me know what system works for you, if you try this out for your teen, how it goes, and until next week, let's make this a fantastic week.